Five.
What could be more reprehensible than 2 old farts? 3 old farts featuring Dave and Steven and Greg Shapiro with funny ha-ha.
I love the opening because when you go funny, haha, I'm not sure if it's a question or a statement.
Is it funny?
Yeah, it's like funny,
strange.
Yeah, my mother used to say, "Is he about certain people?" She said, "I'm not sure if he's funny, ha ha, or if he's funny, peculiar." So,
and
that's what
under the category funny ha ha, there are people who are funny on purpose.
That's true, like politicians.
Those who are not.
Yeah,
funny. Right.
Hold on, comedians.
Yeah. And believe me, comedians can frequently be funny. I mean, I can be on stage and get a laugh for reasons I don't understand, but I'll take it. Just take credit.
That's right. So no, that's a tough job, stand up. And we've been watching you over the last couple. We haven't been with you for a couple of months, and you've been like traveling and doing stand up. You've been all over.
How about that? Well, I'm happy to celebrate 1 year of jumping into these videos with you guys.
That's right. It's been a year. Wow.
Yeah.
Is that right?
A year off. I'd celebrate 1 year by taking a month off.
He celebrates. It's been I have my 1 year anniversary, but I need 2 months away from you. But we're good.
I'm
well, happy 1 year. So it's been a long time.
I was considering taking off a year dead for tax reasons, but there you go. Maybe that won't work.
I like to say that I moved to the Netherlands for tax purposes, specifically because I wanted my taxes
weather.
to be used for actual purposes. Getting any chuckles from the American and from
the Americans. The Americans were listening to this, going, "I don't understand that." So,
yes. I don't know. Do we feel like in America there are tax dollars at work, or is it just tax breaks for the billionaire class?
I think there's tax breaks, and I know Biden did that. He did his own Belt and Road, if you will, here in America. Like, we're going to improve the highways for $5 trillion or whatever.
Yeah.
I know in Austin they're spending $5 billion, and it's starting to look like the big dig of Boston.
Right.
So I figured by the year 2100 that'll be done.
Right.
So I see things at work, kinda, but I don't see like infrastructure, like putting a new highway up. Why don't we do like a high-speed rail? Why don't we do things that actually make sense and would get people from point A to point Z much quicker than we're going to now basically, it's called I-35 here for those people in Austin. So when you head towards downtown, whether you're coming north or south, it becomes, I don't know how this happens. It's a like mega highway, and all of a sudden it goes down to little lanes and the traffic just starts backing up. So it takes 20 minutes to get through downtown.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden you come out of it and there's like a mega highway again. So they're going to do, I want to say it's like a 5-mile expansion, and they're buying buildings and this, and they're going to make it, I guess, like 8 or 9, whatever. And I said to my wife, I have money on this, that when you get still downtown, it's going to bottleneck because people have no clue. But if you go downtown at like a stupid time at 4 a.m, you can get through. At 6 a.m. here, I'm sorry, 5 a.m, it's like all of a sudden LA. It is like the worst. And someone from LA said to me, I didn't know traffic was so bad. I said, it's because you guys are coming here. I mean, it's literally nobody wants to go downtown, and everyone tries to bypass 35. So you will go 20 minutes out of your way taking one of the better highways or a toll road just so you don't sit in traffic. So tax dollars kind of at work, but
Well, I think you've probably got more of a chance of getting a free belt than a Belt and Road.
Maybe you get a free belt.
I think when they build it, that's what they're going to give everybody. But you know what? I found
it never ceases to amaze me how these cities sort of develop. I mean, probably, Greg, you've driven into The Hague. You've got a motorway, which is reasonable. Yeah, reasonable. Yeah, and it goes to a T, and it stops at a T junction.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
Nice.
Highway, 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 and then just stops.
Yeah. Here, I got you one better. I was on a flight from LA to Austin. I sat and it got delayed. So I was sitting in the lounge talking to this nice couple. They had to be in their 80s if they were a gay. And I said to the guy, what did you used to do? And he said, I was the planning and development head for the city of Austin. This is in 2016. And it already sucked then.
A smack or something?
And I was like, yeah, right. And I said, when? He goes from 74, I want to say to like 89. I said, okay. And I said, what were you thinking? Literally was my first question. And he said, to me, here's what we were thinking. We're all hippies. We're all smoking we're all smoking. And he said, we figured we had the state capitol, maybe 500,000, maybe 1 million people tops. And he said, we built the infrastructure in that. It would be no more than 1 million people. That's what the road is made. And that's why he said, and back then he said, and that's why they're going to have to do whatever. He said, it's not Dallas, where if you go to Dallas has 57 superhighways. Yeah. And they all go to the same place. It's just there's 57 of them.
Yeah.
So it's a little different. So like in New York City, you can't do much, right? It's the city, you're done. LA, you can't really do much. So here, I think they're trying to do the big dig before it gets to the point where you sit in traffic for 3 hours, where it's getting to that. If you come from way north or way south, you're just screwed. So, but I thought that was interesting because we never thought Austin would be what it is. He says, we figured it'd be just a hippie town forever. Yeah. And I thought that was a very interesting comment.
Hippies. I mean, sorry, David, you might have seen this as well. I mean, I've had a chat with some of those same people who were the hippies in Amsterdam in the 60s and such. Yeah. And there was even a piece in the Volkskrant magazine over the weekend about the sort of the miracle of the share bike experience. So white bikes, in the 60s used to be, like, hey man, if you need a bike, take a bike. And now it's a bit more regimented, but there are these yellow and blue bicycles which are related to the public rail. So it's sort of like voting. Voting is like public transportation. Isn't that the quote? It's not marriage. You're not waiting on the perfect one to take you exactly where you need to go. You're with a train, and you pick the one that gets you the closest to where you need to go. But now there's actually you can, once you get to that station, and it's like 10 or 15 minutes biking. But then you can rent a bike at the station, and then you're there. Anyway, this was this idea goes back to the 60s, and in terms of urban planning, there was even a huge highway. There's a design. I'll try to put a link up afterward. Yeah, but it's like a urban design for the city of Amsterdam, and you can just see how coming out of the 50s into the early 60s. Car culture to the max. They designed a huge highway that would go from the east of town all the way through. They would have to plow up all these old, medieval kind of neighborhoods, and they would make a big highway that goes right to the train station and city center. Turns out, I think they started to build it in the 60s. Massive protests, and you can even see this huge bridge right now that is wide enough to be a highway bridge, but it's been taken over with buildings and tourist stuff, and and after that it's just all dense city center. It's bikeable, but the highway plan just got stopped dead in its tracks.
I will tell you,
it works.
Another city, which I was shocked with the amount of traffic. I was in Dubai last month.
Oh, really?
Yes, and it was very nice. And they had to ask us to leave because I'm a Jew. No, anyway, no, they're very nice. It's a great place. I love it. They don't care what religion you are, as long as you have money. They love you. They wouldn't care. When you come in, the first thing you go to customs, they go, "How rich are you? Please check." And then I checked, and they go, "You may come in." And I was like, "Oh, very nice, thank you."
I've got a funny story for that too, but go ahead.
Okay, but so here's the thing: we are staying at the Ritz on the seaside near the Palm.
Okay.
All our meetings are downtown.
The Palm.
We don't know, right?
You mean the islands, the Palm?
The island. Like I could from my room,
Yeah.
From my room, I could see
Yeah.
the Palm, I could see
Awesome.
Atlantis, I could see everything. It was beautiful.
Okay.
It was like right on the
Cool.
sea. So we had a meeting at the hotel, big thing we had for a day, and then all our meetings are downtown. Well, we didn't realize that going to downtown, which is a 7 kilometer, if you will, in America, a 4 mile
Yeah.
car ride is going to take an hour to an hour and a half because
No.
gridlock. Like you go out of where we were, and I'm like, well, this is good. And then you get to the first traffic light, and our driver's like, relax. And I'm like, okay. And our lunch is at 1 o'clock, and we're leaving at like, we're thinking at 12:30. We called the people, and they go, hey, we're running late too. So traffic in Dubai is gridlock. But what they're doing with Emirates Air is they're building high-speed rails. Like they're literally building one that goes from Dubai to Abu Dhabi to Saudi. Then they're
Yeah.
building from Abu Dhabi, Dubai throughout the city. So they're
Uh-huh.
trying to get rid of the congestion. The problem is that all the trillionaires there want to drive all their fancy cars, so it's a little more difficult. But gorgeous, and that I was shocked, like that, because when I went to Dubai 20 years ago, there was no traffic, there was no buildings either, so it was nice. And all of a sudden now, it's like, oh, your economy has come back, and people have cars, and there's buildings, and there's this. So it was very interesting. But we're going back for business in February, but beautiful place.
Okay.
Loved it, and it's a place I would recommend. But the traffic, I was shocked. And to me, my mind, when I went there, I thought of the guy from Austin, the city planner. The city planners of Dubai were probably like, it's a desert. It's never going to be big. And all of a sudden, it's like, we're going to have to need like super highways to go and have, people travel. So I thought that was an interesting Dubai story.
You talk about high speed rail. I mean, the HS2 in England, they've decided it was supposed to go all the way up to Manchester, and then of course, but every time something happened, they kept looking in the piggy bank, and there was less and less money. And now, after they've dug up like half of England, they say, "I'm sorry, we can't go that far. We don't have any money anymore." So yeah, high speed rail would have connected the north to the middle, and the middle to the south. But it
sounds like a date I was on once.
Doesn't seem to be a priority rail. They can't seem to get their heads around the fact that if you had a series of railheads and you put all the trucking come to the railhead and put the stuff on the rail, it would take maybe half of the traffic off the motorways.
Yeah.
But that means somebody's got to pay for it, and all the NIMBYs as well. Oh, I can't. Oh, there's a train going to go past my. Oh no, I can't have that. I can't look out my window and see a train.
That's also the not in my backyard phenomenon, I suppose. Yeah. It's
What's your Dubai story?
Was that?
Well, you got a Dubai story, yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry. Well, I do work with this comedy theater in Amsterdam. Boom, Chicago. Just celebrated 30 years this year. So we had a corporate event at one point, and sometimes you're doing a show for Philips or Heineken, Shell, and it's one of their corporate event days. Sometimes it's internal, sometimes it's external, business to business, but in a way it seems like awful soul selling kind of stuff. The most
but it pays the rent.
Comedy, it certainly does pay the rent, but also in theory you can be kind of like the court jester. If we like to say, we'll make fun of your boss in front of your boss, and that the one paying for the whole thing is your boss. But sometimes they'll bring us in to say the jokes that the middle management can't say. But so one of these events was in Dubai, and one of the actors going to the show was a fellow named Lolu, who was a Shell baby. So his parents from Nigeria, part Dutch, part Nigerian. He had a Nigerian passport at that point, still waiting on his Dutch passport. So he shows up at the Dubai airport, and they're just like, have a great show, you guys, except for Mr. Nigeria here. Like,
really?
Yeah, you're just, we're going to have to sit you down in this little detention area. And I mean, they were trying to get him out of there. But nope, Africa, no thanks. I mean, like Shell, Nigeria, Shell, oil, money.
Oh yeah.
They were like, no, you can just wait here for your friends when are they going to be done? In 72 hours from now? Great. put your feet up for 72 hours. He did not.
Here's a hot plate of food and a bench. Good luck.
No.
So, well, you know what's funny? We went there 2 weeks after that girl apparently got detained, an American girl that got detained because she did something in Abu Dhabi or Qatar or whatever. She was rude to the security people. And I'm like, and I was like, the security people we ran into, you know, when we were going through the different airports, were the nicest. I said to the guy, I said that I was joking with him. I go, what do you need me to strip down to? And he says, no. Because you take your belt. I'm like, okay. And I said, what else? I go, and I said, if you're happy, I'm happy. He goes, I'm happy. I'm like, me too. And we were joking with nicest guys on the planet at Qatar airport, at Abu Dhabi.
Okay.
Never had I'm seeing them. I said, what kind of, you know what, were you to piss off these guys that are really just super nice? Unless you did the verboten, which there's signs when you're going through customs that says, no, you can pee on your phone, but no pictures. It says no pictures, no pictures, no pictures, no pictures, no pictures. They prefer you not even to be on your cell phone. So I'm assuming, so a 20-year-old idiot was like, clicky, 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 clicky. And they're like, ma'am. And she's like, it's my right. I'm an American. And they're like, great, you're going to jail. And then I agree with them.
Yeah.
But I was like shocked. I was like, I don't know how you piss these guys. They're the nicest people in the world.
Nice listen. If you have money, apparently. And Dubai is where the climate COP 28 is happening, I believe, right?
I think so.
Yeah. So everyone has to go somewhere once per year. This time,
well, you know, because they did Qatar, and now they got to do Dubai. I've seen Saudi's going for 2024 or 2026 or one of the World Cups too.
The World Cup. Oh yeah.
World Cup. Yeah.
Because there's nothing like playing football in 100-degree weather.
Yeah.
Oh, well, they have the airco on. That'll be all right. You know, just switch the airco on.
The airco, and powered by a bunch of serfs in the back, just pedaling.
Yeah, everybody needs a job.
That's what they did. That's what they did in Qatar. In Qatar, exactly the same. That they had airco in the stadiums.
Yeah, so of course. You have to. Yeah. It's 12 billion degrees
during the summer. Fine.
And the humidity too. But here's something I read that I thought of you because I knew you were coming on this week, and it was in the Financial Times or the Economist, and I can't remember. It was on Monday, yesterday, and it was talking about EV car sales are down. EV car companies are literally giving them away now because they're like people don't they realize that EV cars are a joke. They cause more pollution than gas cars, and people are like, why? And so they can't give them away now.
Right. Okay.
So
go ahead, David.
Did you see the film of the EV of the Tesla in Texas they were trying to put out? It was on the BBC.
Oh, the fire?
Like a whole fire crew there trying to put the Tesla out. You know,
that happens a lot. Teslas catch on fire a lot here.
So,
the old Tesla brand, maybe not as popular as it was. Who knew? Poor Nikola Tesla.
His name would be massacred.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, oh, but Elon Musk started that company. Like, no, he
didn't.
He bought it.
Yep. He bought it from another guy.
And bless him, I don't know, Starlink and, the SpaceX and Starlink, whatever. But sorry, let's not get...
Starlink to me is you're trying to control the world. And in an article he wrote, or he said, I'm not letting the Ukrainian government use it because of the war. And I'm like, it's not your decision. No. If satellites up there, anyone can use it. And if that's what you're doing, then you shouldn't be in charge of a satellite. Once it goes up, it's for everybody to use.
Now it's the U.S. government paying Starlink.
Right.
Plugged in.
And SpaceX is cute, but do something with it. It's like, we've been to the moon, supposedly. So go to the moon.
You believe in the moon?
Yeah, right. Go to the moon. And then I know Bezos has got a spaceship. I don't ever see it doing anything. SpaceX is doing stuff. I'm like, just go to the moon.
He's been using it.
I'm sure he's SpaceX stuff dates.
The SpaceX stuff is interesting in the respect that they're getting a long way along the path of reusable space rockets.
Yes, I see that when it takes up. I'm impressed.
Get them up. Yeah. And that is something.
But we can't have. And we can't have high-speed rail, but we can have
No.
It is nice, honestly. Well, so wait, one more anecdote, and then I'll get back. My theme this week that I prepared was setbacks and bounce backs.
Okay.
And EVs are definitely one of those. But yeah, well, what the heck? I'll jump into that. And yeah, fine. I think, but to wrap up the Elon Musk thing, someone said, "Geez, this guy wants to like colonize Mars or send a bunch of billionaires to live in outer space." And based on his recent management skills with Twitter and/or X, like
Wow.
maybe that's not a bad idea. Like, let him. That's just from the makers of Eat the Rich. But anyway, I saw the piece you saw of EVs, and so that's a big setback for the electric vehicle industries. I will say that it's fine. That there's climate skepticism or whatever about EVs being just as polluting if you look at the entire lifespan.
Right. Well, if you look at A through Z, right, how you make it, how you have to mine the lithium, if you look at everything.
The whole life cycle. I mean, that said, they were also talking, I forget where I saw it. I got to look it up now. But they really did like point by point, electric vehicle versus internal combustion engine, ICE. And they're like, yeah, sorry, internal combustion engines are still like, in terms of emissions, it's more emissions anyway, but fine. The whole industry, I mean, just if you want an EV, yes, there are bottlenecks. There are problems with the subsidies, and indeed, it's not enough people want them. The whole incentives for the industry, you have to build these, and now they're not selling as well. So it's not great. Then we also have wind and hydrogen, big setbacks. The Ørsted, Ørsted, Danish an energy company, they were hiring the Dutch company Boskalis. I did a corporate speaking thing for them to construct this offshore wind park, offshore wind farm off the coast of New Jersey. And some people were like, I don't want to look, like it's New Jersey.
That's right.
But now Ørsted has pulled the plug, partly because of regulations like the Jones Act in the U.S. You can't fly any flag but the American flag if you want to transport goods and people from shore to offshore. Red tape, but also bottlenecks in the supply chain for wind turbines. And the other one is hydrogen. There were hydrogen fueled buses in a city in France, and they have had huge cost overruns because of the industry hasn't caught up the way it should, and they're like, we'll just do electric battery buses or solar powered if we they have to buy a new fleet, and they're not going with hydrogen.
New York City has hydrogen buses, and they do well.
Right.
New York
Okay.
City.
Well, good.
So they're doing well.
That's
because the hydrogen in New York falls off a truck from another country, and we just borrow it. So
that's hydrogen you got here.
Yeah, I got hydrogen for you. Don't ask where it came from. It's all right. Cousin Vinny got it for you.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
I think a lot of people are waking up to the fact that it's great. I mean, I live in a row of houses here, and in the area where I live, there must be 30 EVs, I suppose, and we have 2 charging points. So we're that one out.
Sure.
And if you're in a really nice apartment in the center of The Hague or Rotterdam or in Amsterdam, where are you going to charge your car up? Because the people who own your apartment block won't allow you to put a charger in the basement.
Interesting.
They consider it to be a fire issue.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. Toyota, there's an article a couple of weeks ago. Toyota is investing real money, like billions, in a plant. I want to say it's in one of the Carolinas.
Sure.
And they think they can do 1,000-mile battery.
Right.
And I was like, that's awesome.
But even so, you've still got to...
Where are you going to charge it? No, I agree with you. That's my whole, where are you going to charge the battery? When you're talking about cars and EVs, there's Rimac makes the fastest supercar in the world that's an EV. Okay, it has a 300-mile battery. It's a beautiful car, and they only made, let's say, 100 of them. I think they've sold 5. And I know that because when we were talking to someone that was looking at one, he went to the one in Houston. The guys they were like ready to make a deal on this $2.3 million car because people aren't buying them the way they thought. And I know Rolls-Royce now is coming out with a fully EV Phantom or whatever. And somebody I know is like, they're 50-50 on whether people are going to flock to it. I think in people's mind, to David's point, if I can't have a charger in my house,
Right.
or I mean, most of those rich people will have chargers in the garage, that's fine.
Yeah, they're not renting.
Right. But how am I going to, if I want to take a trip, whether it's in my Rimac electric vehicle, if I want in my Rolls Royce, pick your car, and your battery's only 300 or 400 miles.
Yeah.
How do
Range
I go?
anxiety. Yeah.
Right. How do I go? And then the other thing is, now I know Rimac says that they do a supercharge. They can charge the full car in like 15 or 20 minutes. So I'm like, well, that's not bad, right? That's like if you go to a gas station, by the time you go to if you go to the bathroom, get a soda, it's 15 minutes. Okay, good.
Yeah.
But what happens if they don't, or what happens if you can't find one? Then what do you do?
Yeah.
Right? It's like, I'm afraid to leave the house.
Tesla tried it. I think BMW tried it. There's a Chinese company called NIO, and you can go to a charging station and you literally drive in, and they put the new battery under your car, and off you go.
Yep.
Oh, there's that.
If you think about it, it's a great idea, but of course, if you haven't invented it, you're not going to support it. So there's like a NIO charging station between here and somewhere a long way down the road, further than you can get to with your car.
Are you ready for this one?
Yeah.
I was hired by a company called New Motion, and that was their whole, raison d'etre. Their whole mission was to standardize highway charging stations, because right now, great, you found one, but then you still have to subscribe to a service and download the app and set up a password. That's a whole 20 minutes right there.
Yeah.
And anyway, so these guys want to standardize, at least in Europe. And anyway, they hired me for this event, fundraiser event, and then they called up to fire me because the event was being canceled. Apparently, they had been bought out by Shell Oil.
Well, Shell that's Oil never going to happen now.
Different direction. Backward.
But don't Shell own another one of these companies as well with all the charging points?
And I think, at least in terms of greenwashing, they're doing their best. Shell is whatever. I know.
And the other crazy thing, I don't know, because you're in Amsterdam, so you've seen it as well. We have this. They want everybody to go electric, right? So everybody's going electric. So all the kids going electric. They're going electric scooters.
Yes.
And they're going electric fat bikes.
Yes.
But buy a fat bike today. Buy a fat bike at 9 o'clock in the morning, and you can report it missing by 10:15.
Yeah,
because
you can't get insurance for them anymore.
No, and if you want to get a fat bike with a thing at the front to put your kids in, really, an amazing piece of kit.
Yeah.
What's that? 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 euros.
Easily 4,500, 5,000. Yeah.
Well, take that down.
Where are these kids?
Take that to
getting that
money.
Take
it to the crash, and you can guarantee you'll have to walk home. Because they just
There are also
all this
bikes masquerading as regular bikes. In fact, they're very dangerous. The number one demographic of people getting bumped and killed in traffic are baby boomers 70 plus. So live fast, die old. What a way to go.
My God. Yeah. And here I see in the States, we've got, like in New York, you have City Bike, which is like your white bikes where you ride a bike. Here in Austin, they've got the green motor scooter things, and people are zipping around these motor scooters.
Okay.
California had, I think they're interesting. California had it. I like when the people ride by me, though. I just open my car door, and I'm like, and one for us, you electric pussies, get out of my face. So, but
that concept in Holland of these share bikes, that's all falling apart.
Yeah,
because people just dump them. They just put them. They just dump them everywhere, and then.
Well, that's what they do here.
Well, we need to define our terms. There are scooters and there are scooters. Okay, so there's this L-shaped thing.
That's what they use here, and they dump those all over the place. Yeah.
Yeah, those are annoying as hell. And then the
Yeah.
parking, like, hey, what
Yep.
about wheelchair accessibility? Oh, whatever. And in
Right.
Amsterdam, they just threw them in the canal. So
Oh
that's
my
why I
God. No,
didn't
here they
take it
just
off in
here
Amsterdam.
the green light means you're charged, the red means you're done, and what you'll see is people riding them, and then when they go red, they're like, okay, and they just
Yeah.
leave it, and then they go
Yeah,
find
afterwards.
another one, and then
Yeah.
there's this guy apparently in a
Which is
truck.
okay. Then there's
Yeah,
a service to pick them up and charge you.
right.
But okay.
And he comes and he picks them all up, and I'm laughing to myself because I'm like, I see them in our community, and we're in a gated community. And I'm thinking to myself, how do you get in here and get this
How do
shit?
they-
And I like the other night, there was like 5 of them lined up.
Uh,
3 were on red and 2
uh,
were green. And I'm like, oh my God, that's too
yeah.
funny.
Yeah. No, and
So,
again, it's these bottlenecks. It's
yeah.
progress is not supposed to be, well, I don't know. I was told it would be linear, but
Yeah.
maybe it's not. And so there are setbacks. Another setback before I get to some bounce backs, if you
Sure.
like.
Yeah.
Setbacks was something David mentioned last episode, which was getting punished for having solar panels on your roof.
Oh, wow.
So I actually talked to a guy who came to my show about the climate, and he said, "Yeah, I work at Van de Bron, which is the
Right.
Dutch, energy provider, and they have come up with this new policy. Like, dear users, thank you for putting solar panels on your roof, but we're
Please
happy
go
to
away.
take that energy for you for free, but it does cost us money to store that energy." And so we actually now have to charge you money. So,
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
What a scam.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
terrible. It's the worst. So which
I mean-
energy provider do you have, David?
Well, we're actually using an eco at the moment.
Okay.
And to be honest, I mean, this was an Annette project. She wanted to do it. I'm not saying that for negative reasons, but she worked it all out. And I think up to date, we only had to put on, I think in June. I think up to date we saved something like just under $1,000.
Nice.
So I mean, it's very grey today, but we have a remarkable, even on a very grey day, a half an hour or so of sun will probably pay for me to run my laptop all day.
Right.
So
Okay.
yeah, and we get that we get paid. I think it's back down to 9 cents or something. It was originally 25 cents a kilowatt that they were paying you, and now it's 9.
Wow.
And now the political decision has been made that over 2 or 3 years you will get nothing back.
Okay.
So we won't get any money
Wow.
back from our electricity company, but
Right.
we will be able to run everything for free during the day, because
Right.
if I buy a battery,
Yeah.
a 1 watt battery costs storage battery, which will only last a day, is about 1,000 euros.
That's
Wow.
That's a significant
And,
expenditure. That was another
yeah,
problem
and
with wind.
And our daily use here, and we have a little righteous house. Our daily use here is about 8. So we'd have to spend 8 grand in order to save, in order to have free electricity for 1 day.
Right. Well, sorry. There's good news about that. So I'm told. Yeah. And I was actually hosting an event for the Netherlands Innovation Network. One of the public-private partnerships they're working on is this company called ELAD, or electric charging, basically. But so there's this thing called vehicle to grid. It's like 2-way charging. And they figured out that if we could get enough cars that are doing actually what cars do best, parking, what they spend most of their time doing. And the EV cars, when they're parking, if you get enough of them together, that could be used as storage for, this actually too much energy that's being generated by all these solar panels. So everybody's been talking about this for 20 years, but I think Utrecht in the Netherlands is the first citywide attempt to really try it at scale. So they've had to invest in these 2-way electric vehicle chargers, and specifically they've gone to Park Share, I think is the name of the what do they call them? Rental, share cars.
All right.
Right. And so, yeah, there are enough of them. I think they've gone in with Hyundai for their fleet of Ionic cars.
Sure.
Yeah, if you tried that on the private market, everybody'd be like, "Oh, sounds cool, Hyundai." Nah. But public wise, yeah, they are able to now uh, hopefully alleviate these extra costs for storing your solar energy, and hopefully, yeah, and they're just really investing in putting in more charging stations throughout the city.
I think it's a very socialist or very left of centre local government. I think in Utrecht.
In Utrecht, oh yeah, Amsterdam as well. Yeah, yeah.
So, and the other thing that I saw that they were doing, this was a year and a half or so ago, is they were encouraging people to put miniature wind turbines. So they're literally like a round cylinder on their roofs, because that way it's a lot more.
Yeah.
Sorry, Greg.
No. There are different designs, for wind turbines, and indeed, there are ones that look like trees. You can park them on your roof, whatever. The latest. So I mentioned Ørsted, pulls out of a wind farm, offshore wind project in New Jersey, but I just read that there's a company called Heirloom in Wyoming. And they've pioneered a new carousel, or if you will, merry-go-round wind turbine. That each of these it fits on the back of a truck, a semi, tractor trailer, and it's like 80 feet in the air max, and I think it just whips this thing around. And apparently, it is possible for these things to, if you put them in the right spot, they can develop as much power as these, 500-foot tall things that are much more.
Can I immediately object to that because of all the poor birds that will fly in it? So birds will fly in it. Small children will put their fingers in it.
First of all, I'm very upset about the birds, but the small children, I'm good with that. So I think we should get them all over America.
There you go. So there you go. No, there's obviously the carousel merry-go-round thing has not been tested, I guess, for birds. I can't believe, though, that 80 feet, I don't know, versus, anyway. I do know that there's a whole science into, the wind farms, and if there are migrating birds, then there are ways to
they close them down.
Or slow them down, anyway. But
they actually, did you know, Greg, that they actually turn them off?
Turn them off.
Too windy.
Okay.
I've worked with a guy who works at one of the energy companies. If it's too windy, he also there's sometimes the way that the shadow, some of the turbines that are near someone's actual house at certain times of the day, you basically have shadow over your house, which is super annoying. So you can call up the energy company and say, like, can you please just turn that off for like the next hour while the sun passes over my window, and they'll do that. But there's one more bounce back I wanted to talk about. We mentioned France and the buses, the hydrogen-powered buses. It's not, well, there's two bounce backs there. One is they were talking about, we want to have blue hydrogen, right? Which is all solar, wind, sustainable based. But sometimes, it ends up being, blue is fossil fuel based. Green hydrogen is sustainable. Blue is not exactly sustainable. Then there's gray, which is like
a gray area.
Yeah, the gray area. But there's another category called white hydrogen, which is just naturally existing hydrogen, like comes up out of the ground like natural gas. And they found a huge supply of this stuff in the north of France, actually, in some former mines. I think they were looking for methane leaks, and they came up with like 64 million tons of white hydrogen.
Well,
nice.
That's never going to happen. It's never going to happen in France because they'll go on strike about something. They'll never get built.
But just don't strike the match. That's
right. That's right.
Is when you blow right up. One more thing before I forget, and that is aviation. There's a new form of e-jet propulsion that they're talking about from France. No, sorry, France. Canada. Sorry, it's in Canada. Duxion, I think, is the name. And again, I can provide links to this stuff afterward. But it's something called an E-jet, and it's called RDF, rim-driven fans in the jet. So it's not propulsion. You know, it's not
I
hitting the
hope
turbine in the middle.
I'm politely
It's,
suggesting that people don't Google that, because that you might get a completely different result.
Yeah, no, rimming is totally different. No, but anyway, it's electromagnetic, and it is apparently could be a huge game changer. They were looking for however many, like 8,000 pounds of thrust per kilowatt or megawatt or whatever, but they have crossed some threshold, and now if they can scale this up, then we can be looking at electric powered flight. SAFs, sustainable aviation fuels. I think someone just did the first successful 100% sustainable fuel, like from used cooking oil. You know.
Wow,
and,
very cool.
Yeah, that's coming online. And there's the first two-seater flying taxi somewhere.
I saw that. Yeah. And you got the guy with the jet thing. You can fly over water and hover the jet thing. And
finally,
yeah,
we were waiting for the future to arrive, and maybe it's
and the two-seater taxi. I saw the video. It was been in the Rob report. Now they've been raising money for years, and I finally saw a video of it actually work. And I saw the guy it's like a two-seater car as well, right? You can take it up, how he opened it, take it apart, turn it on, the little fans go, and you can fly it, and you don't need a pilot's license, which scares me. And then at some point, apparently, I guess you can. The computer will fly automatically, I guess, when there's tons of them. But I'm thinking to myself, let me get this straight. I'm out drinking one night, and I would never really do this. And I've had one too many scotches. I'm like, come on, everybody, we're gonna go fly my tax. Yeah, that's gonna end up well. I can see that going. That's not gonna go well.
But what I'm really excited about is this aviation fuel made of cooking oil. Because you can see a crossover marketing coming straight away, can't you? You see it all being sponsored by Kentucky Fried Chicken, so they just fly it over you.
Wesson.
Lots of places where
Wesson oil.
Heavily populated areas, and people go, time for chicken.
Kentucky Fried Chicken. So, Florence Henderson's going to be their spokeswoman, because she used to do all the Wesson oil commercials here in America. You can see Florence Henderson now going, would you like to fly?
Was an actress popular in the 1970s
with the Brady Bunch, which I'm sure the whole world knows the Brady Bunch. But I could see Florence Henderson doing that Wesson oil, and now it's good for in your airplane. That she would be the perfect spokesperson for that.
Before the movie Airplane, before Police Squad, the Zucker brothers did a film called Kentucky Fried Movie.
Oh, that's right. I remember that. That was funny.
A big ad to that effect in there, and it was after the oil crisis in 1973.
Nice sort of movie, that.
Yeah, man. It's who knew that it would actually come along. All those examples I mentioned were mitigation. If you want to talk about adaptation and decarbonization, like I've done previously, I will say that adaptation. There's new wave-powered desalination for drinking water.
Cool.
So that is that could be scaled up. And decarbonization. There's a company called Graphite that now is making like Lego blocks out of, carbon capture biomass. I don't even know the whole story, but apparently they've figured out a way to get to the threshold of $100 per ton of CO2 captured. So again, if you hear about carbon capture and sequestration or carbon capture and storage, that's like already passé. Apparently now it's carbon capture and reuse for industrial uses. It can be used for concrete. It can be used as, they can turn it into fuel, synthetic, fuels. So there's SAF and synthetic AF.
Buck Rogers has got nothing on what we got coming on in the next couple of years. If we survive.
Exactly.
Can we? What about comedy? What about comedy capture then? Can we, because you could quite save all the jokes and build something with them?
Right.
You'd make a fortune, mate. You would make a fortune, Greg.
Yeah, actually, we're gonna.
I have to put this. I have to do this daily. Just you only get an hour a month. I have this daily, just so we're clear.
He brings out the worst in me. I can't.
Apparently, everybody brings out the worst in you. So I can tell you. But
I have to get back to work. Honestly, I'm going to perform this show called Pep and Greg Politically Incorrect at Boom Chicago about the Dutch election. 22nd of November.
I read a few reviews. People liked it. They thought it was really funny.
Yeah, we get full houses. It's only 6 shows, and the election itself is happening on the 22nd of November. Looks like we're going to have a new prime minister in the Netherlands who has no experience whatsoever. So looks like we'll, have another government crash within 6 to 12 months, and we'll
Thank
do
you,
it
David.
all.
It wasn't me. I don't know what happened.
Seriously?
It wasn't me.
That wasn't you?
No.
I don't know how that there. Oh, look at that. I think it's got to be David. It's not me. I'm not doing anything.
Honestly, hands up. It's not me.
Okay. All right, one more time. Oh, it is. I guess it just happens. Yeah, it's awesome. Loving this. Okay. So really quick so Greg's got dates, the 22nd. One more time. Where will you be in?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. Well, if you're in Amsterdam, tomorrow night, the 15th of November, is Pep and Greg Politically Incorrect at Boom Chicago Theater. And we'll also be doing the 24th, 25th, and 26th. So that's
get your tickets.
The weekend.
This is going to go out today. So everyone's going to see this before your show. So they can get tickets. Yeah, and we have merch, and we have all our links will be below. Greg will give us some links. We're going to add them below, and he will be back in December because now that he's over his 1-year anniversary with us, and he's ready to go and doesn't need to take 2 months off.
He's had a rehab now. He can come back. So
that's right. He could do all that. And so there'll be all the links below, the merch below, everything that you want. If you have questions for Greg, add them in the comment section. And next month when Greg is back, we will have them asked, and we will talk about what's going on with, climate change, the EV market, the wind market, this market. It'll be very exciting. And Greg will tell us what new stuff he's got. It's great. It's like this is the feel-good show of our channel. So, because it's always positive and everything's going to come out good and we're all going to survive.
Good. I'm just saying, it's 90% bad news in the climate, but more than 10% is good.
Except for the meteor that's going to wipe us out next week. But we're good. Don't worry about that.
Maybe SpaceX will go, NASA will launch a SpaceX rocket to go harvest the precious minerals from that asteroid. And
Do you know that there was an article, whether it's the FT or the Economist, that was about 6 months ago, that said if you could harvest a meteorite or an asteroid, I forgot which one, they said there were trillions of dollars worth of minerals.
That's what NASA's doing this week. Yeah.
Okay. But my thing is, watch how many other billionaires are going to be building rocket ships to go try to harvest. Could you imagine you come back with whether it's gold, silver, platinum, whatever's on it, and you literally, you pay for your venture in one trip. Yeah. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I took some of those drugs in the 70s as well. But there you go.
Everybody, Greg.
Until, Stephen, you are the 80-year-old guy at the airport saying like, oh yeah, the traffic was so bad in Austin, I came up with the 2-seater flying car.
That's right. I'm gonna be that guy, but I'm gonna be the guy flying the 2-seater flying car, and people are gonna be like, we liked it better when he had the 4 tires on the road. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to where you can actually have a choice of your car being 4 tires or a 4-tire that possibly would fly. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. I'm excited. I think that happens in the next 10 years.
Yeah.
How they monitor it though, and how you make a highway in the sky. Yeah. That's where I'm sort of like interesting.
We've seen Back to the Future too.
Crossover market. It's crossover marketing again. It's no longer Kentucky Fried Chicken. It's Kentucky Flying Chicken.
David, you shouldn't quit your day job.
I really thought.
Yeah, Greg. Now Greg is going to have to go. Everybody, have a wonderful month. Have a wonderful day. If you're in Amsterdam, catch Greg's shows. We will see everybody in New America. Happy Thanksgiving. We'll be back next month with Greg. David, take us home.
Yeah. Don't forget, stuff that turkey.
That